What's going on, folks, and welcome back to another Scum video. I hope we're doing well. Ladies and gents, welcome to the rant video. Yes, that's right. There is going to be a little bit of a rant here in terms of the features with Scum, some of the issues and problems and frustrations we're having from the community themselves and from myself, obviously. Like, guys, like most of you, I've been supporting this game since day one. I've been playing this game since day one. And I've noticed a lot of videos, and since Scum 1.0, there's obviously been a massive drop-off from a lot of the new players that were coming in. I'd just like to discuss a couple of things. Like I said, we can try and figure out some ways around some of the issues potentially, but there's a lot of frustrations right now with the player base, and hopefully you will agree with some. Some may call me a shill, and hopefully this will prove that I am not a shill to those who think that I am a shill. But there are some very frustrating things with this game, and things that we've been promised for years, and it's getting to that point now where it's like, it's kind of make or break with the way Scum is right now. And if the players don't start getting some of the stuff that we really want in the game, then it's going to get a little bit boring and we're going to get frustrated and move on. Where do we start, ladies and gents? Let's have a look. See, I've got a list here in front of me, by the way, so I'm going down. I did write these during my stream earlier. But there are some serious issues with Scum right now, and a lot of issues that the players are so extremely frustrated, and myself, about with this game. Yes, 1.0 was amazing. It was great at first. The visuals, and they are still mind-blowing. Every time I look, they are still mind-blowing. Nothing is ever perfect, and nothing will ever be. We have to keep that in mind. But one of the other things we have to keep in mind, ladies and gents, is we need to keep it fun, right? If the game isn't fun and it becomes one hell of a chore, then we're going to have some problems in terms of having fun and the longevity of the gameplay and keeping the retention of new players as well, which I think has been very poor in that respect as well. There is obviously a percentage of people who stayed, and there's a percentage of people who have left. So hopefully we can create a comment section down below, and you guys can sort of give me your feedback on this. This is my time to air out how I feel about things, and I want to see this game do well, but we have some issues. We have the overburden system in the game, and now when we get wet, we can't dry ourselves correctly, which means we need a way to dry our clothes properly. And that doesn't mean putting our, gear into a fire and just letting it dry for 3 hours. Like, it's kind of, there's a certain level of realism you can put in the game, and then it just doesn't become fun. So for me personally, I'm going to start on the wet system and the over-encumbered system. I think we know where we're going with that. There is no way to correctly and properly dry clothes. Maybe we could have a drying line that we can put outside, connect 2 poles together, put them on, and they will dry nicely on that line. Or even a drying rack or something like that. But putting them around a fire just doesn't work. I did it today and none of my clothes dried. Maybe 0.2% of some of my clothes, but that was literally it. There's a big problem there. That stops players playing, and they've got to sit around, do nothing, and they get bored. Something else we've been promised for years as well, ladies and gents, is the, I'm going to use the bolts and nails as an example. We don't want to be sitting there taking one single bolt out at a time. That is something we should have had a long time ago. We know there are some more UI things coming up. We know there was a lot more coming up after 1.0 as well. But like I said, these are just some frustrations from myself and other players out there that I think you guys will probably agree with, hopefully. But that's obviously a big issue now, is taking out. We don't want to sit there for hours wasting our lives just taking one bolt out at a time. It's annoying. It's very frustrating. The puppet spawn system is still semi-broken, and the reason for that is I went into a bunker a couple of weeks ago, and I went down into, where all the TVs are in the bunkers. I was in there, and within 5 meters, 10 meters in front of me, a exploder, literally just spawned right in front of me. And the same place, it happened again, but it wasn't a exploder. And I was like, okay, that's quite frustrating. So I can understand when people see that. Not only is the immersion, I mean, forget the immersion at that point, you just don't want that happening to you, end of story. Okay, so we've gone over the encumbrance system. The over-encumbrance system is quite frustrating, to say the very least, because now you can't go into bunkers and just come out with everything. And if you do, you are going to be walking very slow. And the way around it I've seen is using EMP grenades. So that's what I do. I use EMP grenades, if I have one, to take down the mech, and then I can get out while I'm running really slow. But the over-encumbrance system is a nightmare. And if you're out there and it starts to rain, you are going to be in one hell of a storm. And it's just very frustrating, and it doesn't make it fun at all. It's just another way to slow down the players. On to the next point, we're going to talk about the improvised ovens. So the developers did a fantastic and amazing job at the map. It looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous. Yes, it looks very immersive now. But a lot of the fridges and a lot of the ovens have suddenly disappeared, but there's no alternative. Like there are a lot of alternatives out there for us. You know, for example, sewing kits, improvised sewing kits, shovels, improvised shovels. And I could go down a whole rabbit hole with that. So why don't we have improvised ovens? Why wasn't that something that we could add to our base? Because that's not only something else we can have at our base, because right now bases are very dull and very boring. And I will reiterate that because over the years, they've done a great job with building up the base elements and stuff, but there's still a lot of work. There wasn't nothing really added to the base elements or the base building with Scum 1.0. So now the hype is over. And this is why I don't usually make videos within the first month of these patches. Now we can really sort of see what's going on and get a good vibe for it. But improvised ovens is something that people really want to have in their bases. And I think it kind of takes away from the cooking system because it's quite hard to find a working oven. And if you do find a working oven, other people are going to be using it as well. But just like the workbench in the base, why can't we have an oven in the base? It doesn't make any sense. Another thing that I think would be really cool to see is rolling of skins, animal skins, human skins, and maybe some other materials in the game. I don't know what. I've just, you know, gone with the rolling up of the skins because it takes up so much room. Why can't we roll those skins up? Like, these are QOLs that players will appreciate, yet we don't have them in the game. And it makes absolutely no sense. And I have no idea what Game Pies are doing right now. Not a clue. All I know is that there is a lot of frustration going on right here, and we need to talk about this as well. The repairing, by the way, the repairing of everything. You're repairing everything every seconds, and it is very frustrating. There's a lot of stuff that needs to just not be repaired every 5 seconds. This not includes, but sort of I digress. But going on to like the uses of certain things as well, like soap. Using all the soap that you have, spending all the money on soap, and then you can't even clean yourself correctly. Now, I know the diseases, the fevers and systems are going to be coming in, and I appreciate that. I think that's going to be a really cool addition. I do. But I think, again, if we don't get these, or if game players don't get these things right, it's then going to slow down the character again. And players are going to end up just not going to be moving in any way, shape, or form. So I think like having like a big box of suds or something. You know, we've all said it. A big box of suds, something we could wash all our clothes in at base, or even down by the river. It doesn't matter. As long as we're not using thousands of soap just to clean certain things. I mean, soap in real life, let's talk realism here. Soap in real life will last you a very long time, right? The devs want to preach about realism. Well, let's talk about realism then. And we can go over everything we just spoke about the realism stuff too. I know there's going to be a lot of things. You guys are probably screaming at the screen right now. Just making sure I'm still recording there. Lovely. I know some of you are going to be screaming at the screen right now. But I can't mention everything. We need to go through a few more things as well. The Constitution skill. I did see someone mention about the Constitution skill because it is very frustrating. I can't seem to ever get the Constitution up. It seems to just go down constantly. It's ridiculous. One of the best ways is because currently right now, if you stand still, your Constitution drops, right? Let's talk about reality. Athletes' Constitution doesn't drop just because they have a day off or they stand still. They can still, you know, if this was a real life and the Constitution worked in Scum as it does in real life, then yeah, I think athletes are going to have a very much of a hard time actually being able to keep up their life because they're just going to constantly drop in Constitution. So that's a big issue right now. Now, there is a way around that. When the character stops walking, right, why not have it pause and wait for 15 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes, and then the Constitution starts to drop, but not instantly. Because people might want to go out, they've got to sort the kids out, they've got to go to the bathroom, they're going to have a shower, whatever. It doesn't matter. Some people have got to leave the PC, and their Constitution's just dropping as well. So that's a bit of an issue right now. In terms of the bases, it would be awesome to sort of see some furniture. Let's customize our bases. Like right now, it's just wardrobe, vehicle, a little bench. That's pretty much it. And then you got a table where you put your fridges on, which is good. And the generators that keep it working and stuff. That's cool. But that's all we have. Tell me one other thing we can have in the base that's functional. Really. A generator. Maybe a fire in the base, right? But we want electricity. We want all that kind of stuff with the lights. and everything else as well. Moving on to vehicle audio. I am so frustrated with constantly getting in and like constantly going in my options menu. If you watch my streams, all you're going to do is see me just go into my options menu and just constantly turn the vehicle volume down when I'm in the car, and then I turn it back up when I get out. We need to have a single button that can just decrease the vehicle volume all the way down, or mostly all the way down, so we don't have it blaring in our ears. Because turning the audio up and down is just immersion breaking, it's boring, and I'm sick and tired of it, if I'm completely honest. Moving on to the NPC locations. The NPCs are all over the place right now. You expect to find certain NPCs within certain areas, within POIs, towns and stuff. Military areas, you're supposed to see 4 and 5s. We get to see them all over the map as well. You don't know where you're gonna find these NPCs. Now, if I know that I'm gonna go to a military compound, a military location, I'm most likely gonna find level 4 and 5s. Okay. 1, 2, and 3s you're probably going to find around towns and other areas as well. Certain types around gas stations and stuff. But you seem to find them all over the place. There is no real situation where you're going to find certain NPCs. And especially if you want to farm certain NPCs, you're going to have to go to those big locations. So moving on to the hunting, for example. Let's move on to the hunting. The hunting system is not fun in any way, shape, or form, and it really does need to be fixed, and that really does need to be sorted. It's not interesting in any way. If I don't even bother doing it anymore because it's just immersion breaking. I'd rather go and just buy the meat and stuff. Like, NPCs drop so much meat, you don't have to farm. It's pointless. In fact, I can safely say it's almost pointless even having animals in the game right now. It really is. You can go and pick all the food you want. You can go and get all the food off of NPCs. And stuff like that as well. The only animals that I like are the predators, right? So the bears, the wolves, and they spawn around the base that I've built on my server. So whenever we go outside our base, we have animals there and we can just kill them and hunt them. But I never play the minigame. It's just so bad. And I'm being completely honest. Like, look, if we want to push this game and make this game what it is, we have to be honest about everything. And this is me just letting it all out now. The mechs, I believe as well, are bugged. Mechs can be 150 meters away from me, walking away from me, and then when I finally do take my turn to run, that mech that's 150 meters away will turn around and shoot me, and now they're seeing you through things that they shouldn't see you through, which for 1.0 is very disappointing. This game should have been hitting big numbers at 1.0 and simply hasn't done so. But that's one of my issues personally, is with the mechs. Now, strength farming. Strength farming is another one. Strength is very difficult to get up. Now they've taken away the wheelbarrow, decreased how much strength training you can actually do. And strength, unless you start it from the beginning, it's very, very difficult, near impossible to reach up to level 8, right? Because you can't just go AFK and stuff like that anymore. That's what the devs didn't want. They didn't want you doing AFKs. Why don't we have a gym set? 1.0 would have been amazing to have a bare gym set for the base, just a bare necessities. But yeah, pretty much just the bare necessities of what we need. Again, is very frustrating because we don't have that. We've had so much taken away from 1.0 and we haven't been given anything back to be able to do any of these things and to gain these skills and stuff like that, right? Another bug that's in the game and that's been there for a while. You don't need fridges, guys. If you want to keep your food intact, they literally will degrade at 0%. Is put all of your food into a chest and put it into your car. It doesn't degrade. There you go. So you don't need to worry about that. Anyway, a lot of those ones were issues from before 1.0 that weren't fixed for 1.0. Whether the devs are actually listening to these, I don't know. Right? I don't know how they're working. I don't know how they're working with Jagex right now. All I know is that whatever the hell is going on, the players are coming last right now. You know? And there's a lot of issues to fix here. Also, one last thing before we finish up the video, because it has gone on a lot longer than I thought it was. It's gone on for 15 minutes now, so I'm sorry about this. Is when you're in a vehicle and you're driving in a vehicle, it's almost as your character is outside the vehicle. There is no internal area of that car. When you sit in a car, it's like being outside. If you drive through the snow area, you realize you're still cold, right? There is big problems here that really needs to be addressed. And especially with everything that I mentioned here is mostly a lot of QOL stuff and also stat stuff, but a lot of them need to be addressed. You know, this is supposed to be a fun game, and it's getting to a point where it's getting not difficult, but unnecessarily, unnecessarily difficult, then where it doesn't need to be, because it is a game at the end of the day. If you want to talk about seriousness or realism, rather, sorry, wrong word. If you want to talk about realism, then you could take out a lot of stuff from this game that's you know, realistic. I mean, vitamins, if you like your vitamin situation, and I'm pretty sure they only address constitution, but the constitution's dropping most of the time every time you stand still anyway. So I don't know. Right, guys. I've tried to find some ways around some of these things. You guys have, you know, I haven't just completely ranted. I'm trying to figure out ways that the devs can get around this. If they watch this video, if they listen to this, I don't know. But at the end of the day, whatever's going on up there in the business world and corporate world, all I know and all I care about is what happens to the players, which is us who have been playing this game for so long. Because it's getting to a point now. It's not getting a chore. It's not becoming a chore. It's just becoming unnecessarily difficult. Unnecessarily. Especially the over-encumbrance system needs to be changed or be taken away. It's just too much for the average player. It really is. And it's not fun, I'll be honest. So, right, ladies and gents, thank you very much for your time and your support on the channel. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And thank you very much for your time. Take care, and I'll see you on the live stream tomorrow for some June Awakening. Peace.